What's up, WWE Champions Universe? This is Lee from Champions Chat, and this is the, I think eighth installment of my roster through the years. Because for whatever reason, I'm a little bit of a dork, and I've screenshotted my roster journey long before ever having a channel that maybe somebody might actually care about. This was just for me back in the day. This was my journey, right? And today we've got a major set of milestones. First up, as you can see on screen, I pulled the first and still, as far as I can recall, only character that I've ever gotten from a bag, Wolfpack Lex. That gimmick, the Wolfpack, was my favorite thing in wrestling for years. In fact, there was a stretch where I didn't watch wrestling. I watched it when I was a kid in the Hulkamania era, in the Legends era. I missed the entirety of the New Gen era. And then we were going back, it was a WCW show that was coming to Casper, Wyoming. And my buddy Jim, shout out to the Edge of Tech on YouTube, because that's my buddy Jim who got me back into wrestling. And yeah, he had us go. He convinced the entire group who did not like wrestling, did not watch wrestling, except secretly. I was like, oh, I remember those days. I miss being a little wrestling fan. I miss being a Hulkamaniac. Jim brought us back. And so we went and saw WCW, and that's what got me back into wrestling. So Wolfpack was the gimmick at the time. In fact, the night we were there, it was only the second time they had ever played the Wolfpack theme. And oh my goodness, is that song good. So Wolfpack Lex, a big get on my roster. Also, you can see right here, 1.97 million. You notice that Bobby Lashley, 5-star gold, is coming hot and heavy onto my roster as my best guy, period. But look right next to him. That striker Ted, that striker Ted DiBiase that is arguably not good. He's not terrible, but he's not good. He was carrying my striker roster, and I mean carrying it. I remember there would be striker milestones where strikers were required, and I took him to 5-star gold because I could not do anything else. It was him or Sting, and Sting was already passing out of the meta. In fact, he was my striker carrier before that, but this was how desperate my striker situation was for years. And now I'm sitting here on this this glut of good strikers. But back then, I literally spent hours in a match or two beating it with Ted DiBiase because no other striker on my roster could do it. Wow. Other shout out right there, Sami Zayn Conspiracy Theory. And then right down there below him is Sika, right? Sami Zayn was one of my big gets. Again, I was maxing about 7 to 8 maybe of the MLCs, maybe about half. Let's just say half a year I would max and the other half I wouldn't. And I got Sammy Conspiracy Theory. It immediately became a top priority for my roster. And then Sika, man, now the free cards are incredible. Like month after month after month. Like remember when Kama, the Ultimate Fighter, came out, Nation of Domination, and up until they introduced the new moves, which by the way, those moves didn't exist in this, right? That's pretty recent. This was long before those special moves were out. Yeah, the free cards were usually just hot garbage. Striker Sasha on the female side was one of the best that they had ever done. And then Sika came out, and he was a roster changer. Like, oh my goodness, sort of a roster changer. And just another quick memory down memory lane for the 5 of you who are still watching this as I knock my camera over. Yeah, that month when Sika was out, they did this thing where there were milestones that you had to hit, and you would guaranteed get his gear. But I had maxed him as high as I possibly could because I was so excited about him. And one of the day's milestones was level up Sika. And I could not, there was no possible way to do it. You could not move him up beyond where I had him. And still to this day, I don't have Sika's gear. Crazy. In the next installment of Lee's roster timeline through the years that a few people care about, and hopefully you're rivetingly just held into this content. We're going to cross the 2 million mark, and then the content's going to slow down a little bit because it gets a little bit more new, right? A little bit more relevant to current, and what's going on right now is great, but it's not nostalgia. This is a hidden nostalgia. Like, share, subscribe, send this to your faction to annoy them, whatever you want to do, because this was my journey. Tell me about yours in the comments section. I appreciate you guys. Really, you rock.